Hey everyone, it's Cathy from CathyZilski.com, back with another tutorial in the Cathy Makes a Card series. Today's card is all about the rainbow, and I can't lie to you, the card was completely inspired by the work of Laura Basson. If you don't know her, you gotta check her out. I am telling you, this card maker is, put it this way, if she hosted a show called The Stamper's Apprentice, I would get on that show. I would take everyone down so that in the end, I would be the Stamper's Apprentice. That's how good she is. In today's video, I'm going to do some stamping and embossing, and I'm going to attempt some distress ink blending, and last but not least, just make general cuteness. Let's begin. I'm starting today with this cool stamp set called Halftone Circles from Alta New, and I'm going to use the big circle. And I've got a piece of Nina Solar White cardstock, and I'm using one of these Simon Says stamp transparencies that help you line things up. I've been sticking things on the wrong side though. You can see the little bits of black that are missing. Yeah, I'm working on it. It actually comes up on one of the stamps, but it's fine. It helps me line things up. So I'm gonna get a little anti-static tool going there, and I'm going to ink this up with Versamark, and I'm gonna stamp, and then I'm going to emboss with white powder. And I think this technique is called resist stamp. I don't know for sure. Let's just call it, I'm gonna stamp it down. I'm gonna put white powder on it. That's what I'm gonna do. I think it's, yeah. So get that impression down, and now it's time to heat emboss. Now I have made the switch now to using coffee filters. Again, another great tip that I learned from many of you out there in, well, I think it was probably, let's be honest, it was Jennifer McGuire. So I get it going here, flick off the extra, and now I'm going to heat set this with my heat tool. I have a little board. Isn't that cute? It's a little Minnesota cutting board, and I've been using it to heat emboss so that I don't, warp my mat. But every time I see it, I want to say, hello, Minnesota. So I'll get that going and get it just heated up the right amount. I'm still kind of new at this, so bear with me. It's going to happen. Next up are inks. I have Abandoned Coral, Picked Raspberry, Spiced Marmalade, Mustard Seed, Twisted Citron, Cracked Pistachio, Mermaid Lagoon, and Wilted Violet. Basically, this is my Roy G. Biv rainbow. So here's what I'm going to do. And Tim Holtz taught me this. If I keep my sponge upside down, I can attach the tool without touching it. How miraculous is this? Seriously. All right, I'm using the Ranger Craft Mat to its fullest extent. I'm kind of blending out on the board and then, bringing it in. Guys, I am not an expert at blending. You will see this, but I think for a project like this, I think that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. I'm just starting from kind of the center where the dots most will let the ink through, blending out, and then working my way around the rainbow. What's next? Yellow. And this is the process. And I only have 2 mini blending tools, so I really only have 2 going at once. But I am smushing my color into the mat. I am, blending it out a little, softening it a bit on the mat, but then bringing it in. So it's pretty strong color. I don't have what you would call a light hand. I just kind of put the color down as I go, but I am going in rainbow order. And every now and then I pause to kind of wipe out some of the ink with a paper towel from the center just to make sure it doesn't get stuck, but it's not going to stick to where I've embossed. Again, working around the rainbow, and I followed the process and then filled in one more round, which I'm not going to show you because let's be honest, you get the gist. I went back in and just filled it in till it looked exactly how I thought it should look. So you might have to go over it a few times, but you'll get it just right. Now for the sentiment. I have this set from Neat and Tangled called Square Thoughts. I love it. It's so basic. It's the sans serif font, the all caps. Absolutely love this. And I love the little talk bubble. And so I just wanted to make sure I had enough room for clearance. Went ahead and gonna stamp this sentiment down with my Versamark ink and get it ready for heat embossing. I'm using Hero Arts white powder. I really do like it because, well, it's just really white and it melts really nicely. So I'm going to heat this up, heat set it, And again, I'm trying to get that light hand so I don't, burn my paper or curl my paper. I know that you're supposed to get the tool hot first, so that's what I've been doing lately, and it's been working pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and heat set that. It's just magic. Every time, it's magic. So now I'm going to die cut this, and I'm going to run it through my Big Shot, but I can't fit my Big Shot into my filming space, so you're going to have to trust me. The plate there, that represents that there is a Big Shot, in fact, behind me where I will cut this out. And just like magic, there it is. I have run it through, and we're good to go. Next step, though, for me is to flatten everything out. Now, this is goofy, but I took the card and I took the sentiment, which I had already put some adhesive on. I put them in this little page protector, and then I put them inside a book, inside my special Dr. Seuss book that I put things in, and then I stick them under a big heavy object. Okay, it's not that heavy, it's a lamp, but it's pretty heavy. And then I flatten them that way. Here's the thing. Someone told me recently, Kath, you can just put them between the plates of your Big Shot and run it through a few times. Duly noted. Either way, for this video, I have my flattened card. It looks pretty good, and now it's time to trim it a little. Now, I know many of you are very skilled with your paper trimmers, and I have an awesome paper trimmer, the Tim Holtz Tonic trimmer that I cut my card bases from, but when I need to do little detail work, I'm not that comfortable with it yet. So I'm going to get better. For me, my skill with a metal ruler and an X-Acto, much more dependable. So I press down really hard. I use the lines on my cutting mat, and this helps me to quickly, it might not seem quick to you, but this is how I know I can trim exactly the amount off that I want to. And what a pretty strip of excess, right? So I'm going to flip it, do the other side. And again, I just use the mat lines to guide where I cut. And this is how I've scrapbooked for years. Like I don't use a paper trimmer for scrapbooking. So I'm using some of this in card making as well because I just want to make sure that I don't mess it up. But believe me, I press down so hard because there's nothing worse than having your finished piece of art and you slip. I've done it a million times. So I noticed that the right side has just got a little more width there. So I'm just going to take off a sliver and kind of eyeball this. But that is how I get this panel trimmed because I wanted to have a little bit of white showing on either side of my card base. So I'm just going to line it up. Again, press down really hard. I haven't injured myself very many times with an X-Acto. Pretty good with it. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some fun foam. I did recently get a bunch of fun foam. And again, I'm just going to cut it out to fit using my X-Acto knife and metal ruler. Cut it, flip it, and make it about the right size. I wasn't sure if it should, be flush with the edges, so I just had it be inset a little bit. And I'm just going to cut that, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some double-sided tape, which takes me forever to peel off, so I'm not going to show you that. But I got it all adhered, stuck it on the back of the card, and now I'm ready to build the card. So my favorite tip that someone gave me was to use my MISTI. Put the card base in, take the adhesive, and then you use the MISTI to line things up. I've had a terrible time lining up card bases on the cards, or you know what I'm trying to say, until I started using the MISTI. Now, I did get it a little bit off. I mean, it was not perfect, but I'm getting better at this, and I'm telling you, man, the frickin' MISTI, it's a modern miracle. It really is. It's making card making and stamping possible for me. So now time to just put on the sentiment, take that little bit of foam tape that I have on the back there, and I'm just going to glue it down, and then we have this finished card. I had so much fun making this. I made two versions of this card. They both looked pretty much identical, but just so happy. I always go very slow at the end because, again, I'm looking straight down. We did it. We did it. We're in. We did it on the right side. And friends, that is my happy birthday, super awesome, inspired by the one and only Laura Basson card. I love this card. I wish it was your birthday because if it was, I would ship it to you today. And here's the thing, if you think you can't do this kind of stuff, trust me, I've lived my entire life with that same belief, and it turns out I can. Thank you so much for watching today. Please subscribe to my channel and check out more videos in the center. To see more from me, visit my website today. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.